Is anime funny? Simple answer, yeah. But what I want to find is the funniest of funny anime. Now, humor is subjective, but if y'all can tap into my mind of humor for this video, then great. So why I thought of this question of is anime actually funny is because there is plenty of funny animes, clearly. But I feel like there's not a lot of comedy animes that are like sitting here. There's a lot of sitting here. Now, it's kind of hard to understand what I'm talking about since anime has so many different levels of genres and just humor. So let's talk about something similar and is easier to understand. Let's compare anime to American cartoons. If somebody asks you what are the top comedy cartoons in America, in my opinion, the top comedy cartoons in America is pretty easy to think of, and I feel like a lot of people can immediately think of it as well. Easily, it's probably the adult cartoons with the humor being just like absurd humor, adult humor. Things like Family Guy, Rick and Morty, South Park, The Simpsons. Those are probably the first things you think of and is probably the funniest American cartoons in my opinion. Now with me talking about that, right, y'all have a kind of an idea of what I'm trying to say. Is there any comedy animes that kind of reaches that like status of the American cartoon comedies? There is some in my opinion, not many, and I also do have my top 3 that I will talk about later, but I also have examples of what I mean when I say like there's animes with this level of comedy and then like this level of comedy. So again, let's look at American cartoons. Without the Family Guy, without the South Park, without the Rick and Morty, there is still a lot of comedy cartoons, but like the very basic level feel-good comedy shows, if you know what I mean. Some simple cartoons I can think of probably is like SpongeBob, Adventure Time, Tom and Jerry. Now do y'all see what I'm kind of talking about now? These are kind of like the funny feel-good cartoon comedies. There is moments for sure that is like super funny and you'll remember it forever, but a lot of times these cartoon comedies, it's just funny things are happening and you enjoy watching it, but it's not like you're kind of laughing all the time out loud. Whereas of the like adult cartoons with absurd humor, there is a lot more of like comedy funny moments. So that's what I kind of mean when I'm talking about anime. Anime has a lot of the feel good funny shows, but it doesn't really have any of the like, I don't even know what this is called, the like, I don't want to call it high level humor because that sounds stupid as hell, but you know what I'm talking about now that I've given like the American cartoon examples. So now for example, let's talk about anime, right? Let's talk about One Punch Man. It is a comedy show as shonen, right? Mostly. Yes, you can consider One Punch Man a comedy show, but the main gag of it is One Punch Man himself. For me, I'm kind of a whatever One Punch Man fan. I don't hate it, but to me, I kind of got bored with it. But One Punch Man's gag is that there is this bald guy that dresses funnily and then he trained very simply just to become a super strong dude that can one punch anything. The thing with that gag is that that gag will always be pretty funny throughout the whole series, but it's not having you literally laugh out loud or dying laughing at any moment. There is moments in One Punch Man that is generally funny, but in my opinion, not a lot. It's more for the shonen aspect of it. Like you're just looking and watching and you're like, oh, that's cool, or oh, that's funny, but you're not laughing out loud. And then there's also the comedy animes where it just relies on like a lot of sexual stuff like Kill la Kill or Konosuba, where there is funny stuff, I guess, but it's not like well-developed jokes. It's just more of like, oh, tits happen. Oh, haha. I would categorize like One Punch Man, Kill la Kill, Konosuba, all that kind of similar stuff to just be like the basic humor. Like you're watching it, it's kind of funny, but you're not genuinely laughing out loud. But then there's also a series that I think borderlines the like basic level funny and then like generally funny. I think Spy Family rides that between line like pretty well. There are generally times that I thought was pretty funny and I did laugh out loud, but not a lot to the point where it's consistent, but definitely more than the like basic feel-good anime. I basically made this video just to ask y'all, I guess, like what are your top genuinely funny animes? I have easily my top 3 since there's not so many, and these 3 that I read / watched, like immediately I was like, this is generally ridiculously funny. So my top 3 is in not really any order, but my first one, which is the anime that's got me thinking about this question in general at first, is Grand Blue. Since the second season just came out, it's got me thinking like, what are animes that are just this funny? The second season just came out, but it's been so long since the first season, but I remember I will always say that the first season was hilarious. The second one that's just started, still pretty funny. I'm not really gonna explain why my top 3 is funny. I'll give like a general idea, but it's humor. I can't explain humor. It's just, you gotta watch it to know. But yeah, Grand Blue is probably gonna be the only one in my top 3 that's similar to like the humor in like South Park or Family Guy, right? It's the humor of like a middle schooler or a high school guy. Like it's that very dude bro humor. It's like fratty humor, which is what the show literally is, just like a frat. It also has like the same feeling of like randomness and absurdity from like the American shows that I talked about. It's just generally funny to me and I actually laugh so many times. Again, a basic comedy show is like you sit there and you think to yourself, right? Like, oh, that's funny, but you don't actually laugh at it. And again, that's why I brought up SpongeBob. Like SpongeBob is a good feel-good comedy show. You never thought this about SpongeBob, right? But in your mind, you're sitting there, you watch SpongeBob, and in your head, you're like, oh, that's funny, but you don't actually laugh at it, right? So again, Grand Blue isn't like that. I generally laugh at Grand Blue. My second show might need a rewatch because it's been a while, but I genuinely remember that it was really funny when I first watched it. That is Daily Lives of High School Boys. I feel like this one has become like a what's the word, cult classic. If you talk to any anime watchers that's been watching anime for a while, they would probably be like, yes, this is one of the funniest shows. The humor in that show, first of all, very funny, but it also felt like it was written and not just banking on the other anime like humor tropes where it's like, oh, scream, 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 or big boobies funny or something like that, right? It's definitely something that you will remember it being funny. It's like when you watch a genuinely funny anime, you will always remember that that anime was hilarious. And it's different from the like basic comedy shows. Like you will remember that. And then my last show, a very recent show, but not only that, this is actually one of my top favorite series of all time. That is Mashle, Magic, and Muscle. I find this series actually ridiculously funny. And in my opinion, it's a more and better comedy written series than One Punch Man. No hate to One Punch Man, but the gag kind of stops after you know who and what Saitama is. The gag in Mashle just keeps going on and just you don't expect half the things that he does all the way up to the final fight of the whole series. However, Mashle's a little different from me than the Daily Lives of High School Boys and Grand Blue. I don't find the anime adaptation of Mashle that funny, but the manga I found freaking hilarious. Just the fact that it was a manga that I had to read, but I had to read jokes repeatedly because I just found it so funny. Yeah, Mashle is just really funny. But yeah, I don't know why I don't find the anime adaptation as funny. I just don't think the comedic timing really lands. Or maybe it's because I read the manga already and I just already know the jokes. I don't know. I just didn't really find that funny. But yeah, those easily my top 3. Yeah, hope y'all know what I was trying to say with like the different layers of comedy and whatnot. I just can't find the right word for it. But I think the American Cartoon example sets like a really good tone into what I was talking about in terms of anime comedy series. There's like the this layer and then there's like the this layer comedy shows, right? I don't know. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, know what I'm freaking talking about. What are your top genuinely funny comedic anime series or just ones that you find funny in general? Just leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and if you watched till now, leave a like, leave a sub, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace!